Thank you for being here. This is the 7 keys to manifesting the awakened divine masculine. I'm Dr. Amanda Noelle, and we have Buddha behind me, and we are gonna rock some amazing content. Thank you for your patience. I got my period this morning, and I had to delay our meeting. So you're here. Let's dive in and create an incredible journey together. So this video is for you if you are on a divine feminine awakening path and you are looking for your divine masculine counterpart, perhaps for romantic relationship, or perhaps it's for just mirroring your own healthy balance of feminine masculine energy. This is the video for you if you're fully committed to your spiritual mission. You feel like you have a big purpose, and sometimes maybe the purpose is just being in your body and being present and being a good human. Or maybe you're here to build the new earth, create a really awesome sanctuary for the world's people that are going a little nuts right now with all the big changes. All right, so this video is for you also if you are a grounded, high achieving, and ready to up level priestess on all levels. So I want you to feel into the higher aspect of yourself, your priest or priestess, and call those energies in. And you're also successful in many areas perhaps, but sustaining love and intimacy is one of those areas in your life that needs work. So I want to give that part of yourself some special juicy love. So I'm Dr. Amanda Noelle. If you don't know me already, I've had a YouTube channel. Well, this is my second channel. I deleted my first channel with a digital mistake. So anyways, my YouTube history has been going back. I'm an old lady going back to around 2010. And it took me a little while before I met my twin flame, my beloved Jack, as you see in the picture. I was struggling with relationships. I was struggling with the masculine. I was struggling with men. I was struggling with finding happiness and joy in my life. And I was on a healing journey. And it took me quite some time to crack the code and be able to have a healing, balanced, wholesome partnership. So I'm going to share what I've learned in my years and research and working with clients from over 30 countries in the world to help smart single women attract their life partner and to be in a happy, whole, balanced relationship as an empowered divine feminine and divine masculine. So the 7 keys to manifesting the awakened divine masculine. What are these things? The first one is to embody a strong sense of self-love, self-worth, and self-respect. So I wanted to talk about embodiment. Speaking of my body, I'm not on the camera. Getting used to these live streams and the technical pieces. All right, so embodiment. We are body, mind, and spirit. And from a very young age, we are programmed to look a certain way, to dress and talk and act a certain way, and it can often push us out of our bodies. On top of that, just the birthing process, going through birth, a lot of times we're not touched enough. Our mothers weren't in touch with their own bodies. They had sexual trauma in their wombs, and they pass on the energies to us. Hold on, I'm going to take off my Invisalign. 1 second. Okay. So embodiment. It feels so good to just sit and be in our bodies. So embodiment, I wanted to speak about a couple pieces of embodiment. Okay. For me, embodiment looks like body image on the outside. How do we see our bodies? Do we love the way we look? Do we go, oh my gosh, I'm a divine being. My wrinkles represent the lines of wisdom. My breasts, the way that they look, they are just perfect in the expression of them. Or are we comparing ourselves to some ideal idea that was crafted by a group of advertisers that want to take our money and don't give a crap about the fact that many young girls and women hate themselves, let alone just accept themselves? So the statistic is that I've seen for a while is only 4% of women consider themselves to be physically beautiful. 4% go, oh my gosh, I'm gorgeous. And it would be interesting to know if that 4% are models or if they just have really high self-esteem. So that would be interesting to know. The fact is we are in a a pandemic, and I said this years before the pandemic happened, but we're in an epidemic of self-hatred, body self-hatred, especially towards women, especially towards mothers or voluptuous women, women that have that round, voluptuous, curvy body type. And I know when I sprouted breasts, I was like, oh my gosh, age 13, 14, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? How can I stop this? I don't like it. That's not a normal reaction. That is because I was watching the media. So from a very young age, we can get programmed with a lot of self-hatred. And then this shows up in our relationship space. This shows up in the way that we address ourselves and therefore how other people see us. A lot of times, the most gorgeous on the outside women, even models, will have a lot of self-hatred and will find themselves being used and abused by different men. They attract the dark masculine because they don't actually love the way they look, and they're trying to compete and fit in with the Joneses and fit into a certain look. And so to those women who have been struggling with healthy masculine relationships, having a steady, stable partner who loves you and who can hold you through all of it, focus less on appearances externally and more on the inside, and also give the external blessing and praise. Thank you for feeding me. Thank you for holding me. Thank you for, like, wow, I have hair on my arms, and that's interesting. You know, that keeps it real, instead of like, I got to wax every little part of my body. I have to look like a baby girl who's 3 years old, even though I'm 43. How can we get out of this ridiculous mindset that we have to look like supermodels all the time, or little girls? Like, what is going on with our culture? And come back. And then we'll manifest a healthy masculine. My partner doesn't care if I shave. He's like, he could care less. I'm the one that spent thousands of dollars on laser hair removal before now they have devices that you can buy online. I'm the one that was obsessive and always wondering, should I get a boob job? Should I do this? People would say, you have perfect boobs. What are you talking about? But I was like, but they, they could be better. And it's so much body dysmorphic disorder stuff going on. And it wasn't until I healed that, I worked with my counselors, my coaches, I got empowered. I started doing women's embodiment work. So the second piece is, are you embodied? Are you doing things from an push, pain is gain, no pain, no gain approach, like just pushing through the motions? That's not embodiment. That's actually kind of trying to override the body, mind over matter. Or are you doing things that actually connect you to your body? You can do yoga in a way that actually disconnects you from your body. If you go to a yoga class and you're trying to impress the teacher and the other people, and you're thinking about your laundry, and you're not focused on, this is my temple, I'm home, I'm following the motions, it's okay if I don't get it right. So it's not necessarily the activities you're doing, but yeah, also, are you doing these things? Are you doing self-care every morning, minus one or 2 days a week? I have an embodiment ritual. I spend around 30 minutes getting in my body. It includes sacred dance. It has some structure to it. I work with a mentor who has an app, and we have like videos that I check off, because if I don't, I won't relax my nervous system. I won't get my juices flowing. I don't have a container. The last thing on my to-do list is an ecstatic dance. Like, do anything you want to do in my morning routine. So do something that embodies your energy and expresses yourself freely. Not just, I'm going to go for a run or do Pilates. That's great stuff. But if we're just forcing our bodies into a pretzel, then we're not going to do right. Hi, sweetie. If you can do it by yourself, my daughter has to take a pee-pee. So in rescheduling this... Okay, sweetie, everybody sees you on the video. Okay, so we're going to just take 1 second, and I'll be right back. We're going to do an embodiment. Everybody take an embodiment 1 second break. So that's the other thing about embodiment. So one of the signs that we're not embodied is actually holding our bladders. So that's a good sign that we got our bladders empty. If people are holding in, even like a fart, if you're holding things in, we're not actually honoring the body, and that's not good physically for our body. So thank you, Elisa, for teaching us that. She wants me to wipe her butt, but she knows how to do it by herself. So we're gonna see what happens, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. All right, practice of self-love. Do you have a practice for self-love? Do you have affirmations, visualizations? Are you giving yourself the self-love that you need? And for me, I used to put business, money making first because I was in a fear state. Coming, sweetheart. Coming, honey. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. All right, so usually things work out pretty well when I guide things from the universe. Boop. Oh my gosh.
I need to go poo-poo.
Okay. Okay, divine feminine. Welcome to embodying the divine.
That little brown thing.
Okay, does everybody want to see your little brown thing? Okay, why don't you go back on the potty and I'll wash your butt. So the practice of self-love is to definitely allow yourself to accept all of the movements in life, including your bowel movements. Okay, you're all done. Good girl. Very good. You ready to watch the rest of your ABC class? All right, well, I probably should have waited to see. So Jack is actually back, but he doesn't know them. Like, help, I need babysitting.
I'm watching the bear one.
Hi, sweetie. I'm trying to do a live stream video. This is such a train wreck. All right, we might need to redo this because I guessed wrong, guys. I thought she was going to be amazing and awesome, and she never gets to be on an iPad, and I gave her an iPad, but no, now she's back. All right, we're just going to go with it. We'll see what happens. We might have to reschedule this. After rescheduling it already because of my menstrual cycle, it's kind of a weird time. But anyways, the practice of self-love, this is a perfect example. The shit hits the fan literally, or the shit hits the body. And we have to just accept that life is messy, and it's not about being perfect. It's not about redoing everything. I'm going to leave this up as an example of this. It's hard being in a physical form. It's hard showing up to things on time. It's hard to be in a committed, serious relationship and to have a healthy divine masculine. We need to both show up and be in integrity. That's the structure of the masculine. But we also have to accept where we're not able to conform to those perfect structures. So having practices for self-love and having a lot of compassion where we are messy. Now, taking care of the inner child is going to manifest it's going to show us that we have a healthy divine masculine. And when we're dating somebody, if they're aware of their inner child, they're taking care of their inner child, and they're not just like going after success, money. They have to have a balance of both, right? Like, do they show up and they pay their taxes and they've flossed their teeth and they are eating healthy foods and meditating and kicking ass in their career? Are they doing all those things, but are they also playing with your kid? If you have a kid, are they also talking to their own inner child? Are they aware of their feelings? The inner child represents the emotions. So our own masculine has to be doing this to find a partner that's doing that as well. So if you're doing that and you're really balancing the inner child with the adult, you're probably on your way to finding a healthy masculine. And if you are overly perfectionist, if you're focusing on success more than how you feel, then work more on the inner child. And you can do that with a coach, different books, different resources out there, but do this work. It's so powerful. It's what my partner and I do a lot of the time in our work and during our retreats. We go on adventure dates, we go out around town, and we have a partner. You pair up with a partner, not necessarily your own partner if you're single, and then people come back and they're laughing and they have all these stories and they manifest all these lessons being here in Bali and going on intentional adventures to manifest what it is that they're looking for. And self-love in relationships, if self-love in relationships have been an issue for you, you may wish to work with a counselor, healer, personal development program, or love coach, especially if you've tried everything, if you've been pushing so hard, and maybe you've even been working with a therapist for years, just kind of generally. But if you are specifically wanting to manifest a divine masculine partner, a life partner, somebody that mirrors parts of yourself that keep showing up and being messy. Like, I would date the same guy over and over again. He had a different face, a different story, but he had the same issues. I didn't know until I started working with a counselor working with a coach that specialized in relationships that I hired specifically for this thing, call in a partner. It was like, oh, I have these patterns. I have this blueprint that needs to be rewired. And when I rewired it, then I called in my partner, Jack, who also happened to be a relationship coach like I was. And these things are not easy, even for relationship coaches, even for dating coaches. Sometimes the answers are not obvious. We have to get outside support, someone neutral, someone that's laser focused on getting what we want and supporting us and holding us accountable. So don't feel bad if you've been struggling. I have clients that have been single from their 20s to their 60s, and they work with me, and it turns out that something that happened 40 years ago was incredibly intense and painful, and it was rooted in a childhood trauma as well. And so they put up these walls that they didn't know they had, and we clear those, and then they find someone literally the next day. Like, it's crazy how fast when we do the healing work. And working psychically is important as well, energetically, as well as psychologically, coaching with the physical world. Like, we want to work on all the different levels. That's holistic. That's the approach to go with. That's holistic results, baby. All right. So embrace your divine masculine energy and take action. So a lot of people are people pleasers. A lot of women are taught to maybe be masculine in their specialty. Maybe they work, I have a friend that works in finance, and she's really good at working in the masculine in her business. But when it comes to being at home, she just kind of takes a back seat and lets the kids trample all over her, lets her husband tell her what to do, even though she's this breadwinner and comes home. And it's so important for us to embrace the divine masculine energy and take action in our lives. Otherwise, we're going to end up as people pleasers, having that empath, persecutor, rescuer, the narcissist empath patterns. So I struggled for years not knowing it, that I was an empath, that I was a people pleaser, that would attract narcissists, that would attract people that wanted to please themselves using me. And I always thought that I would get something back out of it. And I kind of secretly was, which was I was trying to source my self-worth and self-esteem by giving away my desires. In a way, I was letting go of my own masculine energy. The masculine is protective. It is focused. It is, I want this, I'm going to go for it. And I was saying, you know what? I don't need any of that. I'm just going to be your servant. And I would just nourish and give from my feminine. I would be their counselor. A lot of you here are light workers, counselors, guides, healers. And it can be incredibly weird for us light workers to set boundaries in relationships and not overgive. It can feel like we're cruel. It can feel like we're not giving enough, like we have to overgive in order to be loved by someone. Otherwise, well, this story got me to the point where I helped so many men heal. They were so happy because they got nurtured and loved, and their masculine was like already good. And then they would go off and meet their next woman, and then they would maybe even get married. Didn't always work out because, again, they needed to heal themselves. It's always about balancing our feminine, masculine. And I was mirroring kind of an imbalance, but I could say I was getting used. Maybe that was a little bit true, but really, I was using them to boost my self-worth. And that's not fair to anybody. That's not healthy, I guess we'll say. So we want to embrace our own divine masculine energy. We also want to make sure, like, all the boxes are checked off in our lives. Are we taking care of ourselves? The masculine is like numbers, figures, physical world is taken care of. Are you happy with your physical world? Are you rocking things in your business? Do you have enough of what you need? Do you have a good health routine? Are you taking action to have the best life you have? So it's that will. But if we're too masculine, we're not listening to, are we working out just to like work out, or are we working out to feel good? Are we moving in a way that feels good? Are we listening to take a break? Like today I started late, even though it was like, oh gosh, I don't want to start late, but I had my period and I just needed to do a castor oil pack in bed and catch up on some soul family time and just rest. So embrace your divine masculine and take action. The one question I have for you is, are you taking action from your masculine that really nourishes and soothes your feminine? Are you taking action that gets your feminine off, that gives her pleasure, that makes her happy, that brings you bliss and joy? Or are you just checking off the boxes in life? I have a good job, a good house, people like me. Because the feminine is really our pleasure and our flow in life. So have the structures. Go with your flow, baby. So it takes courage to follow our dreams, but when we do this, it builds this confidence, and ultimately that's what attracts our divine masculine, when we have that courage and we're taking action. So maybe it's booking that ayahuasca retreat or that retreat with us in Bali. Maybe it's to buy yourself a new fabulous silk kimono. What is it? Like, take that action, take that leap. Also, number 3 is to develop a spiritual practice that nourishes your soul. If you don't have a spiritual practice that nourishes your soul, what's going to happen? It's not going to nourish your feminine. Your feminine energy is going to be parched and dry. So make sure to have a regular practice that nourishes your energy. Meditate, yoga, ecstatic dance, breath work, integrate them into your life and put them on the calendar. Just do it. Take action. Okay.
There's a wasp.
Okay.
There's a wasp over there.
Okay, I'll protect you, sweetheart. All right, we're moving inside. Practice conscious communication.
Help me.
All right, sweetie, we're almost done. I got 3 more things. So practice conscious communication and foster honest compassion and connection for yourself and others, because communication is ultimately the gap between the feminine and masculine that we need to fill. Speaking it out, connecting it, using statements like I feel, I hear you, I feel angry right now, I feel hurt, I feel sad, just I feel, and then state an emotion when this happened or when you do this. So the divine masculine, divine masculine is known for expressing himself clearly. So this is an aspect of the masculine, is clear expression. And when we do this, when we're holding that space for the divine feminine, that's the beauty, that's the union. That's when we can attract a healthy masculine from our feminine. The divine masculine is known for expressing himself clearly, and when you do this from your most tender, vulnerable, divine feminine voice, that space inside of you, and you listen to her, you create a union between your own feminine and masculine, which then mirrors and magnetizes your beloved. The connection to your personal power, number 5, connect to your personal power and use it to pursue your purpose with passion and focus. So connecting to our personal power, what is this? So a lot of people are following what they were told to do as children. A lot of us are falling into patterns because we were abandoned, neglected, either emotionally, physically, energetically by our family members, especially namely our parents, in some way, in some small way. And that's part of our karma. That's part of our healing work to do. But when we come from these patterns of hurt and woundedness, we often have a false sense of power. We try and overcompromise, and we try and puff up our feathers and try and be fabulous looking and show to the world, look at me, I'm great. This is actually what I would call a wounded masculine, when we don't truly feel powerful. And so then we can come from that feminine victims of vanity, trying to look beautiful and perfect and allure the guy. A lot of women will also try and go to Harvard and Yale and have the perfect business and have the perfect income, and instead of connecting to our true power. What is our personal power? This is a divine energy. This is saying we're worth having and being. Havingness. Do you have havingness? Do you feel worthy to have? Or do you feel like you need to give everything away? Do you feel deserving of having your dream home? Do you feel deserving of having your dream guy or gal? Do you feel worthy of pursuing your passion, whether it succeeds or doesn't succeed at first? A lot of times I see women getting distracted from their goals, not having focus because they ultimately aren't allowing themselves to be empowered. And then they have this idea, they want to work with a business coach. They hire a business coach and they just, oh, I don't really know my niche. And they have all these fragmented parts of themselves and they never get around to doing the most important thing first, the biggest priority that would make them the most money, like getting on a call and saying, hey, I know you have like a million friends that could use my work. I'm offering a free consultation, a free strategy session for anybody that you send my way, and I'll give you a little referral commission. Like simple things like that. A lot of times the biggest thing in front of our face, women will ignore and people will ignore. And an example of this is when I got in a real bind about 15 years ago when I was about to turn 30. I ended up needing money fast. I got arrested while I was doing a plant medicine journey, trying to heal myself from a trauma that I had experienced. And of course, I ended up re-traumatizing myself. And the end result was I needed to kind of literally get out of jail. I had to hire a lawyer because the plant medicine I was using at the time was not legal in the state that I was in. And so I had to raise money quickly. And in that experience, I ended up fundraising very quickly, exactly what I needed. I got a new job. I was making $50,000 working just half time. And before that, I had really struggled as a shaman to make any money at all. I was a shaman. I was a healer. I was stuck in those past lives. And my lineage had a lot of shamans, which is why I had the gifts that I had on some level. And I had all this shame about it. So it took me getting arrested with my intention of claiming my personal power around my finances. And that is what got me from making a huge financial hole and debt and fear into quantuming out. Is all of a sudden I knew exactly what I needed to do because I hit something really scary. So sometimes we might need a wake-up call like that. The funny thing about wake-up calls is it turns out, oh, hey, our power was there. That was my point. As I had this whole story, oh, I can't have money, I don't know how, and then boom, all of a sudden I have a bad thing happen, and it's like very clear. So maybe if you met somebody recently or in the last couple of years that really opened your heart, maybe broke it, a trauma, dramatic relationship, maybe that was only there to help you connect with your power, your passion, and focus, and to get you really focused on your soul purpose. People say, that's my twin flame. I'm like, that was your wake-up call, twin flame. That real twin flame is coming. So get clear on your values, beliefs, and needs. Sometimes we need to go out and go the wrong direction and take a corporate job for a while to realize, I want to have my own business, or the other way around. Empowerment begins with understanding yourself. Take the time to get to know what you value. Ask, is this what I really want? Am I doing it for someone else, my parents? What you believe in, and what it is that you need in order to feel empowered. And that is something to continue to do throughout your relationship. Is this what I want? We're in union together. They want this. We're doing this. Do I even want this? A lot of times people don't ask themselves that until something really gets out of whack, and then they have to. Awaken your divine feminine energy. This will help you to, of course, mirror the healthy divine masculine. So there are so many ways, and this channel is all about awakening your divine feminine energy. The feminine attracts the masculine, so cultivate your feminine by nourishing your feminine flow. Number 7, lastly, is create a life for yourself where you can express your divine feminine gifts. Explore your pleasure, intuition, and the divine feminine healing arts. So maybe you are already doing this, but in general in the world, we have been through a 10,000 year cycle where in many places in the world, especially in the West, the divine feminine healing arts, I would call the divine masculine scientific arts, or whatever you call them. I just know, like, I went to university. Duke University had one of the top medical schools, and the whole university was very much science first, statistics, research, and that's great to have, but we need to balance that science and spirit. We are spiritual chakra energy, we are root chakra material energy, and we meet at the heart. We have both, and we have persecuted the mystery school students, teachers, professors. We've turned our mainstream we've turned the mystery schools into mainstream universities and burnt the records and libraries in the schools of Alexandria and the libraries of Alexandria. You know, there's so many witches and books and healing modalities that have been witch hunted. These things are rising, and I hope the algorithm supports them, because it's so important for AI to support these divine feminine energies. It's so important that human consciousness recognizes that we can't figure everything out with just science. Quantifying everything is not possible. And there's a part of our soul that there's a part of understanding the problems of the world and creating heaven on earth and to creating a great place that we can only get if we're in touch with our feminine energy. And that requires us to be in a human body, requires us to be in touch with our mystical gifts, not just even the scientific aspects of astrology and tarot, but to use our intuition and to feel. And as we do that, we also get to divinate. We get to choose a path. So if you're getting a tarot card reading, if someone's reading you aren't just getting a reading of like, is this your future or not? It's kind of you're building your future together. So be careful who you hire, because even if we look at water molecules, the scientist who's looking at it will change the structure of the water. If you're looking at cells in a petri dish, the scientist who's looking at it, researching it, influences the cells. So we know that thoughts create things. Our energy rubs off. So the divine feminine healing arts are all about feeling. They're about exploring, embodiment, movement, essential oils, intuitively mixing them, creating elixirs, magical potions. It's all this stuff that really relates to this magical voice within ourselves, within our souls, that can only reside in humans, which is why I believe that we're going to this extreme in AI, and we're going so quickly into this quantum technology realm, and that's going to get to a peak point where eventually the consciousness of AI is going to realize that it needs to come back. And the scientific parts and the overly masculine sides need to come back and hold the human bodies, and to start over and to say sorry for getting too scientific, say sorry for cutting the umbilical cords too early, for poisoning children too early with different toxic medications and pesticides and sprays. So the divine feminine healing arts, it's the work that light workers do that will help humanity stay human again. I loved my birth center or tie-dye t-shirts. When you're giving birth, you got to see your birth workers, the midwives and healers, stay human was written on the back of their shirts. And it just was so great to experience. So guys, Gaias, thank you for being here today. I feel like I was a little bit all over the place because on my first day of my bleed, and that's always a little interesting. And it is kind of just energetically intense today. Maybe you're feeling it. Comment below if you're feeling the energy. The astrology is like, whoa, what's going on? The last 24 hours have been kind of wild. So I wanted to just always remind you that you are your own twin flame. So see the mirror. If you're addressing a relationship with someone that you feel is a toxic masculine, just see them as a part of yourself that you're releasing as a toxic masculine energy. Or if you're in a union with someone, you want to stay with them, see if their toxic masculine energy is coming up, see like, oh, this is a part of me that's being released, or it's a part that needs to have light shed on it, or it's a part that needs to have a boundary put on it. But just see it with love and compassion and do what you got to do. And then abandonment, I just wanted to say that a lot of us have abandonment wounds because the masculine, his fear, divine masculine, or I'd say the masculine fear is fear of being smothered, engorged. The feminine, her fear is being abandoned. So we can push away our divine, healthy masculine and end up being addicted to a toxic masculine that likes to abandon us when we haven't dealt with our abandonment wounds. So there are some important ways to heal abandonment wounds, and a lot of times I work with my clients on mother and father wounds and healing those. And I'll do some videos on mother-father wounds. Intimacy fears, the toxic masculine will usually express intimacy fears. One of my clients who's actually almost in her 80s was stood up on a date. She was online dating, and she was excited to meet somebody, and she ended up having this huge crush on the person she thought was going to be great for her, and then he stood her up and she went to dinner and she felt like she was 17 again. So these things don't go away. Intimacy is real. If we put our heart out there, if we start to have feelings, it can be scary. But the toxic masculine will flip back and forth. Ask a woman out on a date, ask a person out on a date, and then not show up. Those are just signs of intimacy fear. So are you showing up? Are you showing up fully? If someone doesn't show up for you, are you still showing up for yourself fully? Or are you projecting, they need to save me, they need to come back, there's something wrong with them? Can you pull your energy back and take responsibility and just say, you know what, that felt kind of crappy, but I'm going to keep looking, and they probably have a good reason why they're acting that way. And now on to the next one. Join us for the upcoming full moon ritual. We have a twin flame sacred love activation. We had one just recently, so it's not for a little while, but next month we are going to be hosting a live full moon rock cacao and rose ceremony. I hope you can join us. I'll put the link in the description box below, but the link is aphroditeuniversity.org/full-moon. Thank you for being here for this wild video with poop and screaming and a bee and all kinds of stuff in between. Welcome to the Flowing Divine Feminine. I will be back in the office. We just moved into our new house and we're still getting our internet all set up here in our beautiful magical dream in Bali. Thank you for being with us, Buddha. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Namasko. Thanks for your comments, likes, and subscribes. Bye for now. Hope to see you at the ceremony. Much love.